The Cincinnati Reds have stumbled out of the block, but today begins the righting of the ship with Hunter Greene leading the way. We'll tell you why on today's Locked On Reds.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to the Locked On Reds podcast. Locked On Reds is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. My name is Stephen Offenbaker. He is Tim Daniel, now part of the family, filling in for Jeff, who is actually in the Bay Area, going to be at the game tonight. Tim loves the Reds. I love the Reds. We have been covering the Reds in podcast form for a long time. We love this sport. And we love talking about it with you. Thanks so much for being here and joining us here on the Locked On Reds podcast. On today's show, we're going to be talking about what I am going to speak into existence, the Revenge Tour. This is the day the Reds start to get it right. Hunter Greene is going to lead the way. We'll tell you why. He's going to get it done out in San Francisco today. Spencer Steer finally looked a little bit like Spencer Steer yesterday. Tim talked about this last night on the Locked On Reds postcast, and we're going to dig into that a little bit and talk about whether or not Spencer Steer is back. We're going to get into that. And a little update on Matt McLain as well. And you're here, you're live. We love talking Reds baseball with you. And with this struggling start, with things not going exactly according to plan, we're going to give a lot of time today to asking you folks here on YouTube in the comments, watching us live. We're going to ask you, how are you doing? We want to know how you're feeling. We want to know what you're thinking. We want your questions. We want your comments. We're going to get into all of it on today's show, brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Tim Daniel, thanks for being here. Appreciate you filling in, keeping that seat warm over there. And where I want to start is with the Revenge Tour. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know that sounds like we're expecting some big epiphany to occur. And I kind of am, because when this team met up with the Giants on opening day, Hunter Greene, not having his best stuff, handled this lineup.
Yeah.
Hunter Greene goes out in his next start and looked better, looked like he had more control of his secondary pitches. So I feel like the Hunter Greene that the Giants are getting tonight is not the Hunter Greene they saw on opening day, but a better version of the Hunter Greene that they saw on opening day. I feel like Hunter Greene's going to go out there and control the Giants lineup. So I think this is a prime opportunity for the Reds to push a reset button. They have not looked good. They have looked like they are pressing. They have looked like they're just trying to will a run into existence. And you cannot play professional baseball that way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm looking right now at the guy, like you mentioned, he was even though he didn't have his best stuff opening day, he still managed to do some really nice things with not having his secondary stuff. And then you mentioned the Texas game. He looked unreal. He just so happens that he's going against a guy who also probably has the case to be a Cy Young candidate as well, in Logan Webb, who the Reds really, if you go back to opening day, when they were able to make him work counts, when they were able to make him throw extra pitches, did fairly well against him. I mean, Jeimer Candelario, of all people, got hits against that guy at opening day. So that tells you everything you need to know there. But on the other Hunter Greene side, the guys that are currently on the roster for the San Francisco Giants, two guys have an OPS over 750 against him. Willy Adames, we all kind of knew that one, but Willy Adames also has a lot of strikeouts against him. And then also Mike Yastrzemski, who doesn't have a ton of at-bats and only has 4, but has 2 for 4 in his career against him. So not only do we have the history, we have the big ballpark where I don't think this is a case anymore. I've seen this in my comments where people are like, he's just going to give up homers anyway. The last 2 seasons, counting so far of 2025 and 2024, he's only given up 13 home runs. So I think we can kind of nip that in the bud and say that's not a thing anymore. He's going to give up a home run because he's a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, not because it's a common thing for him anymore. So going against a team that he has good success against and going into a situation where he knows that he needs to be really good today and the Reds need to get things going. And mind you, they're the only team who has beaten the San Francisco Giants at this point in the year. I'm with you. I feel like this is going to be a good Hunter Greene game, and I can't wait to talk about it at 2 a.m. drinking coffee with you all tonight.
Listen, our buddy Carrie, she's in the chat. She's on fire already. Watching the Reds watching the Reds feels like riding the beast at Kings Island. Yeah, it does. It really does. It beats the crap out of you watching this team on a daily basis. It absolutely does. Look, if Hunter Greene is Hunter Greene tonight and we get into the Reds bullpen, I know that everybody's inclination is to say, oh, this bullpen is terrible. It's had its moments. I understand. I get it. But if the pitching lineup tonight looked like a little Hunter Greene followed by a little, I don't know, Tony Santillan, maybe with a little Emilio Pagan sprinkled in there, that's not a bad group of pitchers to go out there tonight, because Pagan and Santillan, zeros for ERA in 5 and 4 appearances respectively, and Hunter Greene sporting a 2.25 ERA right now. So those are the guys I want out there today. The Reds need to get a win and start things off. We all have seen the statistic about losing the first game of a series, and we need to break that narrative. We need to go out there, win the first game of the series, get a series win. This team needs a series win, and San Francisco is the place to get it done. But it can't be all done with pitching, Tim. The offense, the batters, the position players, the guys that are supposed to hit the ball, Tim. They have not been hitting the ball with any sense of regularity at all. There's a couple things I want to get into. I want to start with Spencer Steer, because that home run yesterday really was the first time I have seen him swing the bat and look like himself. It leads me to the question, have the rumors of his death been greatly exaggerated? Has this really just been a case of less about the injury and more about the fact that he had 7 spring training at bats and he really just needed to get some work in?
I sure as heck hope so, because not only did he have the home run, I thought he had 3 really good at bats yesterday. So he draws the walk, which I talked about in the postcast, and then he got called on a strike 3 I didn't agree with. Where I really thought, well, a strike 2 that led to a strike 3 that I thought was a bad.
By the way, I heard you lean into the umpires last night on the postcast, and I was looking at your comment section because it's always freaking hilarious.
Isn't it a joy?
I was looking at your comment section, and somebody called you out for talking about the umpires in a 6-1
even though
loss.
I said
there were some bad calls in that game, especially the one you're talking about, and to Ellie. Ellie got absolutely hosed on a strike 3 call.
And I said in the episode, if you listened instead of just complaining about me 5 times, I am not blaming the umpires for losing by 6 runs, but he wasn't good. God, and I go to do my caption last night.
But finish your thought. Sorry about that. I love your comment section.
Oh, dude, every day. My wife is like, what'd they say today? So with him, I thought that you kind of saw the patience come back with those at bats. You saw the discipline of just kind of spitting on balls that you kind of seen try to get his bat speed back a little bit in the first week of the year. So am I at the point where I'm like, oh yeah, he's back, we're great? Probably not yet. I need to see it a couple more times. But I just talked about the success that Hunter Greene's had against the Giants lineup. Opening day was bad. Spencer Steers a career 875 OPS against Logan Webb, and that's in 8 at bats. So small sample size for sure. I mean, Spencer's young in his career, but there's certainly things that look like it's a possibility this could be the beginning of the breakout for him. And if it is, then that is not only a great sign for Spencer Steer and the Reds, but it's a fearful sign for their opponents.
Carrie says we need to get Matty back in the lineup. Of course, talking about Matt McLain. You and I were talking about this before we got going today. Having Matt McLain not in this lineup dramatically changes what the Reds can do offensively. Also greatly reduces their defensive look out at second base. I know that, we saw Santiago Espinal make a couple good plays from his knees. We've seen some guys fill in admirably, but Matt is just different. And when he is not in this lineup, it impacts both sides, the offense and the defense. What do we know? Last we've heard, Matt McLain tweaked a hamstring, so he got the pinch hit at bat 3 games ago and hasn't been heard from since. He's not out in LA having surgery, right? Like the last time this happened, he was having surgery. So I don't think that's the case, but have we heard anything from the team?
Last we heard, Could have talked about it yesterday, that they're basically just monitoring it, which, with the Cincinnati Reds medical staff, that could mean anything. That could mean he lost his ankle for all we know.
I wish that wasn't true, but it's true.
So I hope that's not the case. But so it sounds like they are just being cautious with it. And you mentioned obviously the pinch hit on Friday where, I mean, he flat out almost tied the game. So it seems like the hamstring issue is not affecting his power. So that's good news. But with him, he does just kind of, everything changes with Matt McLain. And you mentioned my aforementioned comment section. I got railed on Friday for talking about how, people are like, he hits 220, he hits 220. I'm like, have you looked at his Baseball Savant page? There's an awful lot of red on that page. And so, yeah, he changes everything.
You can talk to me about batting average if you want to, but you look at what he's done just early in a very small sample size, 8 games, 31 plate appearances. He's already number 1 as far as position players go in accumulated WAR right now at 0.5. Yep. He's already got half a WAR and very early into the season. Yeah, he's hitting 214, 290, 571 for slugging, 3 home runs early.
The 571 slugging is awfully nice.
It is, and he changes the face of this lineup.
Yes.
So you can come at me about batting average, but that is the state of baseball. Your gripe is not with Matt McLain. Your gripe is with where baseball is right now. Because batting averages are the days of half the league hitting 300 or over, folks.
Yeah.
This is the reality of baseball, the way that it is. The Reds need Matt McLain in this lineup, and he helps protect Ellie. He is a game changer. And as much as Ellie De La Cruz is going to be the face of this franchise, as much as Ellie De La Cruz is going to be a face of baseball, as much as baseball fans and the younger baseball fans are going to lean in and be fans of Ellie, and we hear it wherever we go, people talking about Ellie, they should put the C on Matt McLain's chest. He should be the captain of this team. He should be the guy that everybody else looks to for how to play the game when they're on the field and how they can be a difference maker, because that's who Matt McLain is.
Steve, coming with some hot takes. I mean, what is it, like 9 a.m. in Hawaii right now?
And look, brother, coffee is on board and I am ready to go. But listen, we've talked a little bit about what we've seen. The comment section is on absolute fire right now, Tim, because everybody has some feelings. Everybody has some thoughts. And coming up in the next segment, I'm going to be asking you guys, how you doing? We're going to put you in the driver's seat. We're going to let you steer the ship. We're going to you guys coming up next. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certification sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Listen, this stuff is super easy. Comes in a bag, just like this. One scoop and 8 ounces of milk. Give it a little shake. No, I'm not talking about margaritas. I'm talking about protein powder. Shake. You're on your way. You're on your way to a better performance. You're on your way to better recovery. You're on your way to feeling great and keeping your body moving forward. Just head over to justingredients.us and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. And for more wellness tips, head over to @justingredients on Instagram. Again, justingredients.us using the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your first purchase. If you can't watch us live here on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed on all the audio feeds. We're on all of them. Take us to the gym, take us in the car, take us for a walk. Don't go down by the river. I usually say that. Tim, don't go down by the river.
No, you're not.
You will end up in New Orleans, my friend. The river is running, and I hope everybody's safe out there. I hope nobody's got a lot of damage. I haven't checked in with anybody that I know in Covington and Newport and in the greater downtown area, but it looks from what I'm seeing on WLW TV and the pictures I'm seeing, the river is arising.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
So everybody stay safe out there. All right, Tim, let's get into this comment section. Folks, if you've been talking, if you've had a question, put it back in there. We'll run through them again. I am a one-man production operation today. I'm not going to be able to scroll back and find everything without the other side helping me, and I didn't set Tim up to be able to do that. But I did see one that went by. I did see one that went by, Tim, and I want to get to it because it's a great fire starter for the comment section here. Am I tired of hearing about Will Benson and Noelvi Marte and Reese Hines? Am I tired of hearing the bring them up conversation? I am absolutely not tired of hearing some of that stuff. This is what I know. I blame you for this. You said something on one of your postcasts that sparked a conversation between Jeff and I, where you said something, paraphrasing here. Do we really think that if we brought up Will Benson or Reese Hines, they would give worse at bats than we've seen from some of the guys that are on the team right now? And the answer to that question is no. I don't think they would give worse at bats. I'm looking at you, Jake Fraley. I just don't know how much longer. Jake Fraley 2025 looks like Will Benson 2024 out there right now. And I am not okay with how long Will Benson 2024 got to go out there every day and play baseball. And likewise, I'm not going to be okay with Fraley continuing. Now, it is early. I'm willing to give it another week or so. But at some point, you got to say something's wrong and we got to make a switch, because this Reds offense really does need to figure out how to go.
Yeah, I was really willing last year to write off Jake Fraley's season because I felt like it was just everything he had going on personally. And God forbid any of us have to go through that. But how he's kind of come in and out of this year, not just batting wise, Steve. I mean, that play the other night in Milwaukee, granted, they won the game, but it wasn't because of him by any means. That was awful. Sal Frelick, who is extremely fast, who probably was going to get a triple anyway, manages to get that ball right by him. And it's kind of just nuts. And so we see that play there. So my conversation wasn't that I'm saying like, bring up Will Benson, he has to be on the team. And I got a lot of flack for that, for sure. But my comment was, where things are sitting right now, I'm not 100% certain I don't think he's going to do worse than what we're getting from the corners. And in a group text you and I are in today, I went as far to say, I don't know if I believe this, but the thought has crossed my mind that I'm not 1,000% certain I don't trust Jacob Hurtubise as more than I trust Jake Fraley right now.
Yeah, you talk about hot takes. That's hotter than my Matt McLain captain's comment.
Yeah.
But you're not that far off. I don't know what to make of this outfield. And I let it get away from me. Where did it go, Carrie? Because it's a good question. Here it is. Carrie says, are they counting on the return of Hayes and Spencer Steer coming around more than, say, swapping out players?
Yes.
AAA? I think that's absolutely what
they're doing.
They're trying to ride it out. They're trying to just like, I imagine Francona sits in his office every day and is just like, God, please give me some of these players back. And then with the fact that Matt McLain's out of this lineup now as well, Tito's like, this is not what I was promised. I imagine he's feeling a little frustration behind the scenes right now.
Just you see this often with Tito Francona in games. This number right here. Yeah,
correct. Which we hear as a tell. We've been told that's a tell that there is a peak level Francona frustration, which that's going to have to be a graphic of some kind. Peak level Francona frustration
for sure.
Setting in. It's coming. Look, I'm willing to give it another week, Tim. I'm willing to give it another week and see if these guys can start hitting the ball that aren't hitting the ball. And if they don't, you can't continue to wait for guys to get healthy. You got to get moving. I mean, as we talk right now, as we're speaking here on a Monday afternoon, Eastern time, the Reds are already 3 games back. The Cubs have pushed out to 7-5. St. Louis is collapsing as we thought they would. And the Reds are not going to be able to play a lot of catch up. They're going to need to stay close. Is 3 games behind panic time? It's not. But like I said, I'm willing to give it another week, and they need to be moving in the correct direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. And maybe I feel like this weekend was really good for TJ Friedl minus the 2 plan. I thought he had a really nice series in Milwaukee. And I joke about this on my show. I don't intend to talk about TJ Friedl every episode, but somehow he comes in the conversation, good or bad. So I feel like that was a nice start for him to kind of get back to back to that situation there. And then I've seen it a million times now. The Ellie thing. He's 6 for 35 minus the Rangers game. Like, sure, but he's also
why are we minusing the Rangers game? He played in that game.
He was awesome in
that game. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. I mean, if he's
had a hit in every game except for like 2.
If you've got some stats, if you've got something that can make your point, great. but don't manipulate the
post
stats don't fake the stats to prove your point. Like Ellie has been good, and Ellie has to contend with already a bigger strike zone than everybody else in the league gets, and then has to deal with bozos calling balls outside that even bigger strike zone, that are balls, calling them strikes. So like Ellie's just been just fine. And to your point on TJ Friedel, man, it's easy to overlook him. It's easy to forget his contributions when we want to talk about Ellie, we want to talk about Matt McLain, we want to talk about all these things. 9 games, 40 plate appearances, 289, 325, 368, 4 RBIs already. He's got a homer. He's doing just fine.
Yeah. And I'm not worried about Ellie De La Cruz.
And we got to keep going. So the next question that comes up is how Tito is using the subs. We've seen a lot of how to describe this, Tim, but we've seen Tito have to make moves. Some of them, his hand was forced with sickness. Some of it, program days off, whatever it is. But when we see these substitutions happen, when we see Tito make a move, he doesn't restructure the whole lineup, I guess. He treats it plug and play. Oh, Matt McLain's not playing today, so Santiago Espinal's batting second. Because
he's been good.
But that's where Matt McLain bats. And likewise down the we saw him move CS around a little bit. But beyond that, he kind of treats it plug and play. And I don't know that I like that. Santiago Espinal has not been horrible. You're absolutely right. Let me find him real quick because I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about when I
Saturday got on base 3 times.
240, 296, 280, an early season OPS plus of 60, 40% below league average. I think the eye test says he's playing well. His defense has been good, but he's not the number 2 hitter on this team. He's not Matt McLain. So why, when you put him in a game, would you treat him as if he's Matt McLain? Why would you not bat him lower in the lineup? I don't quite understand why Tito's doing things the way that he is. I've also never managed a team to the World Series. So I'm gonna trust that there's a method to this madness, but I just feel like, you've heard me say this many, many times. I am very much pro. Let's put players in the best positions to be the best versions of themselves. And I don't necessarily think batting Santiago Espinal in the 2 slot is putting him in the best position to be the best version of himself.
Yeah, I saw Drop Shot Master. Sorry if I said that wrong. He's been mentioned a couple times, and I'm not to this point necessarily where he says like Ellie leadoff, I need it. I want Ellie hitting second more than I want Ellie hitting leadoff. And what I say by that is I want Matt McLain leading off or TJ Friedel leading off. With Matt McLain slugging, maybe you can make the case he could be your 3rd guy in the lineup there. And again, we're talking about a situation here with Tyler Stevenson not being there, with Austin Hayes not being there. Maybe that makes things so. Matt McLain's starting to look like Matt Senzel. That doesn't make any sense. Matt McLain's a far better player than that.
That's an injury. That's a commentary on injury, and it's not the same thing. And it's too early to make that proclamation.
Yes, please don't put that into existence. Actually, let's just don't bring that voodoo into the clubhouse. We don't need that.
Very, very quickly, I wanted to touch on this. I see it from Brandon here. Did Matt McLain decline a contract extension from the Reds? Yes, he did. Understand, this wasn't a prolonged extension conversation where there's been back and forth, and then Matt McLain was like, no, I am not coming to play here.
Yeah.
The way that this really went down, the way this really went down was someone from the Reds, it sounds like it was Brad Mader, came to Matt McLain and his agent and are like, hey, how about an extension? Here's a number. And Matt McLain said, yeah, that's not where we're at. That was the conversation, guys. That was the conversation. So there's plenty of time, plenty of room. I really feel like the Reds were dipping their toe in the water of whatever this is to kind of see where Matt McLain's range would be.
And I think it's sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No. And now they move forward from there. They go back and they reevaluate and decide if they can come together with a serious counter.
Yeah. Plus, it's important to note too in this conversation, Matt McLain has also switched agents since that conversation has occurred. Mm-hmm. So everything's up in the air on that too. And I wouldn't panic because guess what? Regardless, one way or another, he's still a Cincinnati Red for at least 4 more years.
All right, guys, more of your questions and comments coming up. I see pitching questions in the chat. We're going to talk a little pitching when we come back. We've got that right after this. If you're not getting your tickets on Game Time, you are missing out. Jeff and I use this thing all the time. You've heard us talk about it, Tim, and you know our routine. We go down to the banks, we find a spot, we have some tacos usually, get a couple beverages, monitor the Game Time app, and as the prices drop closer and closer to first pitch, we grab the ones we like and head over to the ballpark to get it done. With Game Time, you can be in the ballpark. There's nothing better than catching MLB action live. You get the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the fry box behind you. It's all good, especially if you stand where we stand. No better place to get last minute tickets. With last minute deals, all in pricing, and a low price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as you get closer to Game Time, like I said, meaning you can score on incredible deals. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's going to be $20 off already incredibly low prices, guys. You're going to save a lot of money. If you don't know the venue you're going to, they've got a view from your seat. You can see exactly what you're getting. So download the Game Time app. Again, terms do apply. Create that account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks again for being here with us live on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the notification bell. Click the likes. Tell your friends. Help your grandparents log into YouTube. Whatever it takes, share the show with them. We love talking Reds baseball with you. We want to talk Reds baseball with them. All right, Tim, let's dive back into this. Let's talk a little bit about Carson Spiers, because it got away from me as I was switching screens, but there was a question in there. Was Carson Spiers' first start a fluke? Did he have a career game? Did he have a maybe a little bit over his head moment in his first start? Yeah, that happened, and that's okay. Was the Carson Spiers we saw the last time actually more in line with who we think he is? Probably. Yeah. That's why he wasn't in the starting rotation, guys. That's why he was going to be in the bullpen. If he can continue to be somewhere between those two extremes until Andrew Abbott gets back into this rotation, which hopefully is not much longer, I can live with that. And Carson Spiers will have done an admirable job. In the absence of the availability of Rhett Lauder, in the absence of the readiness of Chase Petty, in the absence of the readiness of Chase Burns, Carson Spiers is your next man up. And it's not always going to be great, but it's serviceable. And that's really all you're asking for when you ask a guy to fill in a major league rotation.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of who he is, right? I mean, he said he has these nice moments and he has these moments where it's like not very good. And it's just part of the process with him. I think he's just kind of, I wouldn't say he's a 4A pitcher. I certainly think he is worthy of being on a major league roster.
I think he's a major league reliever.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's for sure a major league reliever.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what I'm getting to. I think that the role he's in currently, the Nick Martinez role, as I put it a couple days ago, is probably not the best suitable thing for him for his major league career. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Here's an interesting one. I want to get your take on this there,
oh boy.
Timmy. If I don't lose it again. Yeah, here it is. This is from D'Angelo. When Diaz comes back, is Ian Jabot gone? What do you think? What are your thoughts there, Tim?
Ooh, I hope. I shouldn't say I hope so, because that feels horrible to say about another human being. But Ian Jabot is certainly not helping the major.
Riddle me this. Does Sam Mull have options?
I believe he does. If I don't have it in front of me. But you and Jeff had a pretty decent conversation before the season started about how when you heard Terry Francona talk about the bullpen, the name Sam Mull didn't very often come across his mouth in a good way. So I felt like that was really interesting. And you're starting to see why. He's down 2-3 miles per hour in his velocity. And you saw that yesterday. I mean, that Jackson Chourio home run was, you heard it on the bat and you knew where it was landing, kind of thing. So when, I would say that between the two, yeah, Jabot's probably the one that's gone. No, I mean, I'm sorry. I had that backwards. I would say that Mole's probably the one that gets sent down because they have two lefties who they probably feel like they can count on a little more. I think Rogers just looked really good last week. And then I think Brent Suter, I know he's been in mop-up duty, but he's looked better since that Texas home run. So, yeah, I think
Suter, I think if it's me, I'm sending Sam Moll down to work on whatever needs to be worked on.
Bicep
not
curls.
forever, not exile. There's going to be opportunities to come back. But I mean, if you look at the opening day blown save notwithstanding, since then, Ian Jabot's pitched better than Sam Moll.
Yeah, he gave a solo shot yesterday. That happens.
But it happens, especially the way things have gone for this team right now. But I think Sam Moll, there's something going on there. And I don't know that you keep running him out there. Relief pitching, ERAs we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But he's got a walk per 9 right now of 13.5.
Scott Barlow's pretty good. He's got a 5.4, I think, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these numbers are wonky, but it's okay. We're gonna, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would go with Sam Moll.
Yeah, I think I would too.
And this is a good point too. Sam looked good in spring training.
Yeah, he did.
We heard rumors that he wasn't ready for prime time when he got to camp. I think we're seeing the fruits of that. He's got to get it together. I think he can. Look, he was really good when he came over here. And I think he can still be that guy. I know, Jeff's favorite saying is relief pitching is a fickle thing, right? And like sometimes these guys just lose it for a while. And this might be the case. And hopefully he gets it back because when he's on, he's really good. He's a valuable piece of the bullpen. So for me, I send him down and hope he gets it figured out.
Yeah. I know we only have
this from
minutes left. Oh yeah, I was gonna get to the exact one. Yeah.
Yeah. This from Buckeye DNA. I just don't know if Santillan should be moved from high leverage with the way that we can't score runs. I like him there to keep the game close. I think Santillan
has been awesome.
He looks back into the bullpen high leverage dude to me. I mean,
I agree.
Look, I know the thought process is, well, Alexis Diaz comes back and he's the closer and that's just the way it is. And slow your roll. I'm thinking that it's hot hand. Bullpen by committee is what I'm doing. If
I'm with you.
If Santillan continues to pitch the way that he's pitching and Alexis Diaz goes out there and Diaz's it up when he comes back and walks the first batter every time out and makes things way more interesting than they need to be, and I make Alexis Diaz my 6th and 7th inning guy, and I roll with the rest of the gang. Pagan's looked great. Santillan's looked great. I don't think anybody should think that Alexis Diaz is going to roll into the clubhouse and be closer number 1 just because that's the way it's been. We've heard Terry Francona say, you got to earn it. What you did last year doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I if I was Alexis Diaz, I'd be watching some of these guys pitch and be like, I'm gonna have to step up. Yeah,
I am with you, man. I mean, obviously we all know how I feel about that position per se, but if they have multiple guys who can take the ball there, you feel pretty awesome about it. And so far, they've shown the ability to. They might have multiple guys. I mean, I know I mentioned just a second ago. I know he had a bad game the other day. I've really liked what they've seen from Scott Barlow. I think Scott Barlow has been really good for this team, and I think he's going to be really good for this team as the season goes on.
All right, Tim, I know you are pressed for time. I appreciate you being here, guys. This is going to be a short one, just given what's going on. Tim is going to be back with you at some god-awful hour, 2:00 in the morning, live on YouTube with the postcast, I think. Post-game. Whenever this Reds game ends tonight, you get Tim, my man, will be
Please
live.
Don't go to extras. Please don't go to extras.
To talk about it with you. If you're up, he's up. Come join the fun with the Locked On Reds postcast. That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Reds. Thanks as always for making us your first listen. We appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed. Click that notification bell. Click that like button. We're going to keep monitoring the games, gathering up the news, bringing back all the information here to keep you locked on Reds every single day.